Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is James Caldwell and I am speaking for SpillItBoy.com. I've been pretty much forced into doing this vlog for you guys today. I really wasn't even planning on doing any videos today, but when something goes on, you know I have to stop and I have to talk to you guys. So that's what's going on. Now, I'm sitting up kind of high because I just want you guys to see what it is I have on, okay? Just a regular old t-shirt, old cheap-ass t-shirt, and cut the sleeves off, and not even cute. And the damn blue jean shorts. See that? Nothing. Just plain old outfit. Okay, I say all that to bring you to this. Okay, today is August the 2nd. In Pittsburgh, every year we have this, it's basically a community day, if you will. And I've always heard good things about this community day. I've not been to it, and it's more or less an old timers thing. So, like older people in the next generation up from me, they put it together, and there's usually a cabaret and all of this going on. And then on Sundays, you know, they have all the revival, like a little revival and all that. So I had never actually gone, and I literally live really walking distance if I wanted to the event. Have never gone. It's probably been going on for about 6 or 7 years at this point. People literally come from all over. They come back to Pittsburgh, to the north side for this festivity. So I said, I'm going this time. I'm stop making excuses. I'm going to go. It was just wonderful. I had a great time. It was really nice. I mean, you know, you have everything that you have there, your neighborhood. I had people who were very happy to see me. I had people there that weren't so happy to see me. I mean, come on, you all know I have books and things on the market that, whatever. We're not getting into that today. But there were people who were happy to see me, and there were people who weren't so happy to see me. I saw family members, and I saw people I went to school with. Hell, I see, you know, teachers and people I grew up. It was nice. I had a great time. I really did. Now, saying that, so I'm just walking through the park, and, you know, I'm like, oh, this is really nice. It's something that I'd have missed this all this time. Okay, so let's bring it to where we need to be to. I see my church family. Okay, I wasn't surprised to see them there because there's vending opportunities as well as there's vending stations everywhere. They're selling food and everything you can think of they're selling. So my church, naturally, they're there and they're doing food and everything like that. So now I have not, you know, I've done some videos that are a little bit controversial when I get to talking about the church. Now, the thing is, I've always said this, couple things that don't ever change. I am a member of my church. No, I have not been to my church. It's been quite a while. It's been months and months and months since I've actually been to my church, but I still consider myself a member. My pastor considers me a member. Now, let me clear this up now. I absolutely love my pastor. Okay, so let's not get that twisted in any type of way, shape, or form. I love my pastor because he is who he is, okay? He's very upfront. He doesn't play games, and I honestly thought that I had found the place that was right for me. He basically is honed in on what talents that I have and what good they could be used for, you know, in the church and that kind of thing. And when it comes to him, it's never a situation where I feel as though I'm being used or anything like that. He doesn't pressure me. He is just that person. He is very genuine. He's a beautiful man. He really is. I've never actually felt that close to a male person in that type of role with me. There's literally no shade. I'm never made to feel any kind of way about anything about me. You know, he accepted me full on. And as a matter of fact, when you talk to him about me, he says, my son. He refers to me as his son. That's what he's like, one of my biggest cheerleaders. This is who he is. So anyway, So I see him, and I ran up, and he jumped up and embraced me, and that same feeling is just like family. It's always there. That never changes with him. And it was like, hey, my son, I'm so glad to see you. Then he starts telling me about all the new things that's going on at the church. And he's like, yeah, we got this going on now. We have that going on. Remember, I told you this, that, and the other. He was so excited about being in, practicing the fivefold ministry. And I'm like, okay. And we were basically kind of there when his wife was living, who was my other pastor. She actually passed away. She was an apostle. She passed away. So he's basically getting back to what it was. He's right back on his mission. He's telling me he has these 2 new apostles at the church. And he was just so excited about everything that was going on. I said, okay. So I said, I'm going to have to come on up and see him. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to come up and see what's going on. Now, that's my relationship with my pastor. I will never join another church. As long as he's living, I will not join another church. I am a member of his church, and he is my pastor, period. Point blank, period. And I'm going to try to keep this as clean as I can, but I can kind of tell you all it's going to get a little rough as we go through. It's going to get a little rocky in just a minute. So, and I'm trying not to stretch it out too bad. But anyway, I love my pastor. You get the idea. So while I'm talking to him, there's some older members that were there, because I've been with the church since maybe it's a newer church. So right in the first year I've been there. I've been a member for we're working into my 4th year. So there's new people, okay? And there's new people and there's newer people. So I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. So there's a woman there. He pointed her out that she was an apostle and she was new. There's a woman who I wasn't familiar with sitting up a little further in front of her. She kind of looked, they both gave me looks. And again, it's one of those things, everybody knows everything about me. When I open my mouth, you know what you're dealing with. Like, we don't have to go into a whole thing. I have the gay lisp. I can't turn it off. Some people see it as my, I get a lot of conversation about my accent. I am actually from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But yet I don't have a Pittsburgh accent. And I think a lot of it might have to do with my, there's a flamboyance that goes in my voice. There's nothing I can do about it. It's been what it's been. It is what it is. And I'm not going to apologize for it. But anyway, so I got that feeling, I felt the shade rolling. And I'm like, oh boy, whatever, no big deal. So it doesn't matter. But she was an apostle, and the woman in front of her, I don't know what her purpose was, but neither one of them, they showed no interest in meeting me or knowing who I was, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. It's fine. And I finished up talking to my pastor, and I told him, I said, okay, so I'm going to walk down, and I said, but I'm going to definitely come back through, and on my way back through, I'm going to buy some things, to help you guys out, buy some food and everything. And I said, he said, well, good. He said, there's another apostle. He said, I want you to meet her especially. He said, I was looking for your number and I couldn't put my hand on it. He said, but her and her husband have written a book. And right away, I was bragging on you and I'm telling about how my child has a book or 2 and all that out. And he, I'm sure he'll help you. Well, my pastor knows that, I don't have a problem sharing anything that I've done with the universe. I would definitely be more than happy to help them. So that was that. So I walk off and I'm gone for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. And then as I'm coming back down, I'm walking with a girlfriend who I have run into. We're going to go and get rib dinners. I said, we're going to get a rib dinner. I told her, I said, I got to stop because I have to buy some things from my church. And she knows how I feel about church. She's like, okay. So before I even get a chance to, my pastor's flagging me down. Hey, James, come on over. I says, okay. So I run over. She said, I'm going to go get a lemonade. She goes over to the lemonade stand. I go over to the church stand. So at this point, he says, this is the other apostle who has come to us, and I want you to meet her. Well, as soon as she turned around, I look at her, she looks at me, and we both scream. Are you kidding me? So we run up and we embrace. Here it is. It's such a small world. This woman had she was a part of when I first started off in my process of adopting my children. when I had to do parenting classes and all of that stuff to be certified, because I started off with foster care and all of that and worked all the way through to my full adoptions for both my boys. She was working for the organization, so we knew each other. We already had a rapport. She wasn't into the ministry at that time. It just goes back. I ended up meeting her son, and I knew her son. And that child has gone off and graduated from high school, and I met her husband, and we already knew each other basically. But she is a beautiful person, and I'm like, my gosh, you are part of the ministry. She's actually an apostle now. I said, that's fine, and I could see that. I could see that for her because she has that type of spirit. So we went through that. So we go through all that, and once my pastor figures out, he's like, look at God working. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, that is kind of how that works. So I'm like, okay. So, everything's really light, and we're sitting there, and, it's everything is feeling good. Now, the other apostle still hasn't turned around. And the woman who's sitting by her, she's kind of looking now like, oh, wow, okay. So then, as the apostle who he wanted me to meet, who I already knew, she starts telling me about the book and all that. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, James will help you. He said he'll help you. I said, I will be more than happy to help you to figure out what it is you want to do with your book and how you want to go about it. And I said, so my pastor's like, yeah, he has a book. I said, yes, I have actually 5 books on the market right now, but I'm self-published. Now, I'll have a lot of information on that, but, other than that, and again, I'll help you however I can. So we go through that. So then she says, hey, are you still sewing? And I'm like, yeah, here and there, whatever. So she's like, oh, okay. So then the other apostle turns around. Oh, do you sew? And I kind of look like, yeah, I can sew, And then my pastor goes, oh, no, he doesn't just sew. He makes stuff. He does everything. Like he is, and he's, again, I told you he's my biggest cheerleader. So he's going on, and I'm like, oh, my God, here you go. So we're doing all that. Then the conversation's going, and it's going with oh, you do hair too. So now we're going through all this. Now the girlfriend of hers, who ain't said nothing, now she done perked up. Oh, ever since I got her, I've been looking for somebody to do my hair. I said, well, I really... I'm sitting there and I'm trying to keep it cute and keep it clean, but I got shade from you two. So I'm not even feeling you two really. And I don't, because I had given my phone number and everything down to the lady that I was going to help with the books. The apostle, excuse me, not the lady, the apostle that I was going to help with the books. These two, I'm not real, I don't have a warm, fuzzy feeling about you because you all were shady. You were basically shady. You didn't really care to even make my acquaintance. And I caught that. And it's like, whatever. But okay, raise above that, right? Cool. Well, can she give me a copy of your phone number too? Oh, yes, me too, because I need my hair done. And I said, well, child, I can't help myself. I'm a Capricorn, y'all. I said, I don't really do custom sewing any longer, and I don't really care to do hair. I only do hair when I can't get out of it. Which is basically true. I mean, but when I want to, I'll do whatever it is I want to do. But I'm not really trying to take y'all on as clients. I mean, y'all are shady. You already showed me you. You showed me you. Okay? Bam. So, anyway, now at this point, something has shifted. Now the other apostle that wasn't trying to make my acquaintance, now you see some use for me. And my pastor's singing my praises and the other apostles singing my praises. Now all of a sudden, she don't want to prophesy over me. And how God is doing this and God is doing that. And then all of a sudden, God was telling her things about me and about me not being at the church. And that it's time. And I says to my pastor, he never pressures. He says, I need you back up at that church. You good at fundraising and all that stuff, and I need you up at the church. He didn't say, I want you to do this, I want you to. He said, I need you. And I said, okay, not a problem. Now, he knows that. He knows the right things to say. And when he says that, I need you, he knows that he can pretty much, I'm going to start popping up. I'll end up popping up. And that was my intention. As soon as he said it, I'm saying, okay, I got to make my way back up here and, help pops out, because that's what I actually call him, help pops out with whatever it is he needs, and I can fade back into the background and do whatever I want to do. But if he says he needs me for something, there's something he needs, and I'm going to go and do that. So that's fine. That's our relationship. So, but she's going in, and then she says, well, what are the titles of your books? And I says, well, let me stop you now, because my books are not Christian themed books. You know, I told her, I said, I have my memoirs that I wrote, but my other books are not Christian themed books, and they're really not. They're really not. And she probably wouldn't really care for them. But anyway, so she's like, oh, okay. So she started into this whole thing about how God's going to take over that. And he's telling her he's going to take over this because she knows now that the devil is actually trying to use my gifts for other things. And I'm listening to her, and she's going into this whole thing, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm listening. Then I'm trying to sway the conversation to kind of get away. And this is when it happens. When Christians don't know when to stop. You don't know when to stop. You push, and you don't know when to stop. She didn't put her foot up in her mouth, because now she's going on into this whole thing about me not being at the church. And there's another member. She's like, yeah, we miss our baby. That's, you know, the one, she's one of the mothers of the church. We miss our baby. He hasn't been there in a while, this, that, and the other. So now she went all into the apostle chick, that went all into a whole thing about, I know sometimes when you leave and you're doing the wrong thing, it's hard to come back over, and this, that, and the other, on and on. Okay, first, stop. Now, here's where this gets rocky. Because she don't know me. Okay? She don't know me. She don't know nothing about me. You didn't even want to make my acquaintance 10 minutes before you start making my acquaintance. Now you're going talking about you prophesying over me, and God's telling you God ain't telling you anything about me, because you're going off of, I don't know what you're going off of, but you're going off of this whole thing of like how I'm doing these worldly things. The only thing that I'm doing that I wasn't doing when I was going to church every Sunday is not going to church every Sunday. Okay? I've not changed a thing. I've not changed a thing. So that's what I'm saying. Here we go with the bullshit. Because it gets to a point where it starts to be offensive. It's offensive because you're judging is what you're doing. You're looking at this gay person that's standing in your face, and you're making these judgment calls, and then you're lying on God, talking about God put that in your throat. God didn't put that in your throat. While I was going to church, and I was going every Sunday, and I was dancing for the church, doing liturgical dance and all that for the church, I was celibate of sex and stuff then. When I left the church and I haven't been to church, ain't nothing changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing about me has changed other than the fact that I'm not going to church. And let me make it very clear. I did not stop having sex and stop dating. It had nothing to do with the church. It had to do with me adopting my children. It actually started a year before I adopted my first child. I decided the only really way, I kept going because the only true safe sex is no sex at all. My mother doesn't want to raise any kids. My mother already raised her kids, so I need to stay here. So I can't have any sexual thing, anything I can control, I'm not being taken out by. That's why I decided to be celibate. It has been 11 years. Okay, so it has nothing to do with church. It has nothing to do with trying to get into heaven. This just happens to be how I live my life. This is how I live my life. And basically, my mouth is pretty much one of the worst things about me is my damn mouth. Because I do cuss. I do say a little motherfucker and that here. And it's what I do. But that's my vocabulary. That's how I talk. But that's another video. Anyway, because we're really getting into this. So, anyhow. So she's going on with that. And then she's saying, wait, I got a word from God right now. He hit my hand and God told me right now. You tell my son right now is when he come back. And God's going to fix your pen. And you'll be writing for him. And this, that. Girl, whatever. Yet again, I said, oh boy. So now I have to tell you, all of this has basically completely turned me off. Completely turned me off, whereas my mind was already set. I'm going to see Pops tomorrow morning. I will not be going to see Pops tomorrow morning. Okay? Yet again, one more loss for the Christian people. Yeah, you did it again. You took your foot and you kicked the soul even further away down the road, away from the church. I have no interest in going to church tomorrow. I had my whole mindset that I was going to go to church tomorrow. That turned me completely off. Okay, and now let's wrap up. As I finally get that conversation, because she didn't know where to stop, I couldn't even get away from her. She talked so goddamn long till when I got over to try to get a rib dinner, there wasn't no more motherfucking ribs left. That's how long she talked, and she wouldn't even go. She prophesied, and God's telling her all these motherfucking lies that God wasn't telling her. I don't know who she's listening to, but it wasn't the God that I serve. Because all those lies, all they did was make me miss my motherfucking barbecue dinner, okay? And I'll be frying chicken in a minute, and I really don't appreciate it. But anyway, okay, last thing. So, now, and then you got things you want. You want some clothes. Your girlfriend want her hair done. Now I'm all good in the hood. Ain't that it? When you're gay, you're wrong. But when you're gay and you're talented, we'll work with it as long as you be quiet. You shut up, little fag. And you go over there and you get on that sewing machine. And then you get down here and you fucking bumper curl my motherfucking edges. But you keep your fucking mouth shut, you little sissy. And you all right with us. Bye, Felicia. Sorry, he's not buying into it. Anyway, so here we go. There's a new member. As I get away and I'm starting to go on my way. Now, my church, they're handing out flyers where they have this little program they're giving away. Backpacks and school supplies for the kids for this upcoming school year. So the one girl, she knows me, you know. She gives me a flyer. And the girl with her, girl probably in her 20s or so, looks at me and says, she looks right at me. Didn't try to be tactful or anything. Looks at me and says, he doesn't even look like he has kids. Basically, in reference to me her giving me the flyer, like I'm wasting the flyer. She says, oh, no. He does have kids. Oh. How rude was that? How rude was that? Like, I mean, because see, when you're with the church, you just say whatever the fuck you want. Again, all she sees is the sissy. That's a sissy. Why are you giving him, even if I didn't have kids, and I gave the flyer to someone else? You did your job, but you're so motherfucking rude, and you're with the church. You don't know me. All you see is a sissy. He don't even look like he have kids. I turned around and I said, well, what do you look like when you have kids? What do you look like when you have kids? And I told her, I said, darling, not only do I have kids, I got 2 kids, a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old. They do go to school, they do carry backpacks, and they do carry school supplies. So, really, people, what do you look like when you have kids? I know it's not that I don't look old enough to have kids, though that's flattering. That wasn't it. Was it that I'm too motherfucking pulled up to have kids? I don't think it was that either. That would be nice and flattering, but that wasn't it. Let's call a thing a thing. I was too motherfucking gay to have ever had kids. Well, excuse me, bitch. I got 2 of them. 2 of them. Honor roll students. Bitch, deal with that. What you got up at your place? Rude. Rude, 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 judgmental motherfuckers from the goddamn church. And here we go. My church. Like I said before, even when you think you found the church where they don't do that, they do that. And I'm going to reiterate because I'm ready to wrap this up. We've gone long enough. I do love my pastor, but he's surrounding himself with some real motherfucking winners. And on that, I'm done. I have an attitude. I'm done. Thank you guys for watching the video. You can thumbs up the video or thumbs down the video. Please leave comments and let me know what you think. And it's a shame that every time I get on my soapbox, yet again, the church is always fucking proving me right. I'm living for the day that they don't prove me right. I want to be wrong. That you're all not hateful and shady. But every time I get up on this soapbox, they fucking prove me right. Have a great night, you guys. Leave me comments on the thing. I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.